Hi friend, it's Pat Sloan here on August 15th with our topic of the day. Some tips I got for the Scrappy Stars of piecing it, something I'm trying with this, and I'll do a little Q&A. So let's first do our topic of the day. I know this is another one. I don't know what I was doing. When I was creating the calendar for this month, I'm like, okay, we're gonna have lots of show and tell. You're gonna have lots of rooting through your stuff. So today I'm curious to see your biggest mess. Yes, pictures are good for that. If you don't have pictures because you're not on Facebook, then just tell me about it. But you should join our Facebook group, Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. You really should. So your biggest mess. I have several small messes. Basically, my messes are all small messes and they're spreading everywhere. I ended up having a lot of stuff in the living room, which is the one room we try to keep really tidy and not have stuff all over. But during the time when I was trying to recover and I really couldn't get around and I had to have a lot of odd things in order for me to use my phone and stuff. And then the mail would come in and it all got piled up on the coffee table. So anyway, that's got moved to another spot, but at least my living room's tidy and nice and you can look at it and it's like, it's very calm. I don't look at it and get like, ugh. So I want to hear about your messes. Are you dealing with them? Do you like to work in a mess? Some people love it. They love the chaos, the colors, all the stuff around. You know, this is what feeds their creativity. If that's you, yay, you've got it, you know. But if your mess starts to weigh on you after a while, or it's to the point where you can't even find your cutting table to go in and sew, therefore you don't sew, this is something to fix. So today will be a day to kind of reckon with that. For me, I wish I could organize mine. I've just got piles of stuff coming in and piles of stuff sitting everywhere because I can't really lift and shift and move things without help. If it were probably not for the pandemic, I probably would have a friend come in my house and help me, but that's not an option right now. So it's just Greg and he has his other things to do. So my messes will just accumulate for another, probably a month at least, maybe a little longer depending on what the weight training is like. Okay, so that is your challenge for today. Talk about the messes. So I decided that I needed to look at the cross stitch and see if it was doable, because my thinking is I have the ability now that the cast is off of here, I can move, I can rotate my wrists some. And so at least I can get the angles a little bit better. When I had the cast, it was very, very limiting. I couldn't even like put these fingers together because there was cast in there. So now I have some ability. So this is what I did. I decided to take the Happiness is Homemade because I think that that's pretty simple and it's darling, and so that is what I'm going to try. Okay, so Mr. Greg had to help me because there's no way I could do this. And actually he, these are not easy to put on and off, these Q clamps, but once they're on there for good. They really work nice. I do have regular other kind of hoops, like with the clip on the top that are round, but this is what was closest. I didn't have to go get it out of a box and get him to bring other stuff down. So you have to pick your battles. How much help do I need? So there we go. I have it in here and I've started, where'd it go? It started the little house. So the link to this is down below if you want this cross stitch. There's the little bird house. So I've counted off, and hopefully that's right. There's lots of extra cloth. I didn't cut anything off yet, so I can do a little bit. So it's not bad. I've got the little bee needle keeper I showed you yesterday, and I'm able to go up and down. So it's here. So if I have it out away, I can, go down the hole and pull it from the back, like, and then come up in the hole, as long as I've got decent lighting, and then, move on like that. So this works. Now, I want to show you something that a lovely, lovely friend sent me from our group. This is from Deb. Yeah, is that right? Yes, Debbie. It's from Debbie. Look what Debbie sent me. I'm going to put the, let me put this down here. So Debbie sent me this wonderful lap tray. So look at this. It has, oops. So it has an adjustable part on it, and it has a place to put, where over here some spools. It's got some little magnets here. And so basically I can take this, I'll scoop back. I can take this and I can, you know, tilt it, put it in my lap, and then Debbie, this is going to be perfect. Whoops, I can't reach that, and I need two hands because it's too heavy. So I can put this on my lap and I can shift it out past the edge and stitch. So this is just perfect timing, Debbie, to get. So I am so excited to try it out. So that's why another reason I wanted to get this set up so that I could give it a go. It's a cute little table. Really nice, and it's not heavy, so that's nice. If I sit on my lap, it's really lightweight, and I can lean on it, and if I were, I could put my tablet on it, you know, to get everything closer. It's just amazing. Thank you, Debbie. I've already written her. It is just such a nice gift. Okay, now the Scrappy stars, and so many of you are sewing on them. I saw some really cute pink ones. I saw some more tops done over at Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. So one suggestion I got was to do the stars so that I did sashing on the top and the side versus like the top row up there, where I did the whole top row, I did a cross, and then I did a sashing row, and then I have another row of stars. And that does tend to get a bit heavy, and now I can just do two at a time, which is what my plan was, just do two rows at a time. But I thought I would try this for the other set and see if I had more control over this. Whoops, you see the front, more control over this to see what's going on. So a couple of people asked me about the backs of mine. Now, my backs do not look as gorgeous as Anne's, which is, she did the going on the picnic blocks. And remember, I'm also hindered, so some of these, no, this one's not a hindered block, so there's no excuse. So here you go. Here is my block, and you know, I am just not the pressing queen. You know, I'm not one who's like so crazy to figure it all out. Like here, this one was pressed open. It's the only one pressed open. Here's one that's like pressed open for that part because apparently I wanted to see that intersection better, but I didn't press the whole thing open. This one's not pressed open, that one's not pressed open, but there it's, you know, like pressed to the side. I could, you know, get nice and put it over here. Now the 9 patches pressed nicely. Here's one that's like the pressing, I need to press it down, but it's like, for me, okay, let's talk about that. I think the pressing directions are fabulous. All of my books have pressing directions. It takes more time to put that in there. It takes time to figure it out. It takes time to edit it, which is why you don't have it on my free patterns. Plus, I'm not one personally who does a massive amount of analysis of my pressing directions normally. This is not how I work. I just sort of do it. For me, it's like once the quilt is layered, you know, I'm not doing these for competition. You know, once the quilt is layered and I've quilted it, I don't see, and then you wash it and use it, like I don't know that anybody cares what direction your seams are pressed. So if you're doing competition work and it needs to be super tidy and super excellent workmanship, that's sort of a different level of work. Also, when I do small patchwork, I'm really meticulous on my pressing because small patchwork, there isn't a lot of room in there for wiggle room, and every little bobble shows because you only have, you know, a small distance between patchwork. So, but Scrappy stars, not so much. I just have fun with them. Just fun, not trying to get too crazy. All right, so I had one question from the friends over at Quilt Along with Pat Sloan. So Dottie asked, I have to read this, when you make a block that has pieces that have stripes, okay, so I'm using a striped fabric in a patchwork block, do I have them all going one direction, or do you have half going vertical and half going horizontal? So That depends. It depends on the design of the block. Are the stripes making an alternate statement within the block that if they were all going the same way, it would visually create like a statement about in the block, like you would see that, you know, stripe? Do you need to have the stripes angled so that they also create like a secondary unit within the block? Or is it like something scrappy like the stars? Like if I were to have backgrounds of stripes in some of those tone on tone, the white, you know, the white area, I would not care if some went this way and some went that way. They could do it in the same block. They could do it right next to each other. That wouldn't bother me at all. The other aspect of that question is whether you care if they go different ways. Like every time you look at it, are you going like, oh, I wish I had changed it so they were all going the same way? If you process the block that way, if you look at it and that's your immediate first thought, then you probably do need to plan them out, which is a little bit more work, not insurmountable work. Just you have to think about it. But if you look at the blocks and you're just like, oh, they look great, then the direction of the stripe is not something that sticks in your head. So that's a personal thing that only you know how you react to it. So I hope that helps. I hope that helps you make a decision, because it's not, rarely is there a black and white decision. Rarely is there something that's like a yes or a no. Almost everything comes down to how you look at it, how you feel about it. There are technical things, like if you don't use a 1/4 inch seam, blocks probably weren't going to all line up or work together. But other than those kind of small group of technical things, everything else is really free-flowing. You know, it's how you process it and how you look at it. Okay, so last thing, I thought I would show you this, because a couple people have written me about, you know, what kind of occupational therapy are they giving me or whatever. You know, I had a cast on this until a couple of days ago, and so I was doing some exercises but not much, because all I had was these fingers. But when these came out of casts, they did not come out equal, you know, which that's the way life is. We don't know why one is having a lot more work has to be done on certain parts than the other. So like you can see in this hand, which just came out of the cast, I can close it. And if I didn't have the compression glove on, it'd be a little easier to see, but I can totally close the hand. This one, no. See? See, I can't close it. I can't make a full fist. That is all the further down that goes. And this is not desirable. This is what we want. We want it to close all the way up. Now, the other part is, take your arms. You can do this with me, okay? Take your arms. I'm going to do the one that has the cast off first. So my left hand, put your left hand out with your palm facing down, and now rotate and put your palm facing up. Palm facing down, palm facing up. That didn't do that right away, but that's what I've been working on. And so it's pretty good. It still aches a little bit to do it, but it's doing it. Now let me show you the right hand. The right hand is not doing this. Palm down, palm up. That's all I can go. I can't make my palm go up. So this is not a desirable thing at all. So this is what I have to work on. And and it aches. It aches a lot to do it, and it aches afterwards. That's just the way. If it didn't ache, that means it would be all better, or you're not working hard enough. But if it aches, that means it's working. So my occupational therapist said I need to be able to torque it over. So I have Greg's grandfather's hammer, and this is what I'm doing. So what that does is that puts a weight. It's like a counterweight, and so it will rotate the wrist and put some weight on it to help stretch the muscles and pull it back over. So those are some of the things that I have to deal with. I can't type on the keyboard. I can type one finger. I still do a lot of voice to text. So that's why, like the sewing and stuff, that's why it's so limiting for me. I can pick one piece of fabric up, put it on top. I'm going to try the needle, push it down, pull it out. It's going to have to be a very slow, painful process, because I can't do anything fast. I can't rotate my hands and my fingers to do the kind of things you normally do without even thinking. They just don't work. So that is my 3 times a day that is just one, those are just two things I have to do 3 times a day, exercises. I have a slew of them. They take about an hour or so each time. So exciting, right? But I thought I'd show you, because when you're watching me, I sit here and I talk and I use my hands, because I always use my hands when I talk, but it also is good for me to keep the fingers limber. It's a way for me to be doing something. If I'm just sitting, my hand isn't doing anything. So I need to keep everything moving all the time. All right, my friend. I love you, and thank you so much for joining me every day here for the dailies, and for having so much fun and being such good sports to do my daily topics. I love it. And you need to go over and see all the green quilts from yesterday. They are fabulous. All right, I love you. Mwah. See you online.